In this edition of INN CEO Talks, I'm joined by Ian Stalker, a strategic advisor of Pasofino Gold. And we're talking about gold in Liberia. Ian, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Liberian gold. Tell us about your company, Pasofino Gold, and in particular the project that you have there.
Delighted to do so. Pasofino Gold, trading under the symbol VEIN, which is a nice little catchy trading symbol, VEIN, has been in existence now for just over 2 years. And it came into existence because we saw an opportunity in the West African country of Liberia for a good quality gold project, which has turned out to be a project that will become a mine in Liberia. So we started earning into the project back in, as I say, 2 years ago. We committed to complete a definitive feasibility study on the project, which we did in June of this year, and we put out a series of results from the project that demonstrated a real quality project. For example, the production rate that we're looking at from this particular opportunity is 200,000 ounces of gold per year production. So it's a good size quality project. It's not small, it's not the biggest, but it's right in there in the niche area of where companies will become interested in saying, hey, this is worth looking at. The average cost, the all-in sustainable cost, is roughly about $1,000 an ounce. Now that can improve further because when we did our costs, both the OPEX and CAPEX, we did it, as I say, in June this year, right at the time when every single part of the business was going through the roof cost-wise. Fuel was expensive as it's been. It's probably come down by at least, 15-20%. The cost of shipping, because of the container problems that came about following COVID, were just horrendous. The cost of steel plate, the cost of everything was just at its maximum. Now, 4 or 5 months in, we're in a different ballpark, and we can see that cost, the $1,000 an ounce all-in sustaining, coming down nicely below sort of 900, 920, which becomes a competitive price when you think that the gold market's still trading at 1750 roughly an ounce. And the expectation is that gold's going to become even more attractive in terms of the long term, particularly with the cryptocurrency taking a dive in the wrong direction. So
and geopolitical tensions around the world also are putting stresses and strains on different currencies.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up in terms of, because geopolitics are always part of every miner's remit these days. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on where you look at it, some people enjoy it, some don't. But when I talk about Liberia, and you did mention that part of the world, and I said it's West African. It is, but it's not West Africa necessarily in the way that you and I are used to in the last 18 months, 24 months, because a lot of the headlines in the last period of time have been challenges in places like Burkina Faso and in Mali, where coups d'etats have become quite common, unfortunately, and challenges then exist in terms of just movement of people, security of your investment, etc., etc. Liberia, which is a coastal country, is a smaller country, relatively underexplored in many, many ways, which is good and bad. Less than 5 million people, and predominantly only one religion, which is useful because in poor countries, divisions such as religion can become quite tinderbox type areas because it doesn't take much to create a bit of a disturbance. In Liberia, as it happens, 95+% of the population is Christian. So it's a very calm part of the world, and we don't get those political upheavals that you see in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, in the hinterlands, even in Guinea, even next door in Cote d'Ivoire. It is relatively calm and benign. And that makes for a secure investment, not only for my company, but for investors coming in as well.
So you spoke about the pace that you're moving at so far, which in the mining world, you're moving at lightning speed. Why are you able to do that? What is it about Liberia that gives you the ability to move forward faster than you would, let's say, in Nevada?
We saw the opportunity back in 2019, negotiated it in 2020. But in fairness, there was a lot of work done previously. So we piggybacked on a lot of that work. Over $75 million worth of money was spent in this project. So there was already some strong foundations that we just enhanced and built upon. And that gave us a much faster ability to define the definitive feasibility study. We've got, and I didn't mention it earlier, we've actually got, in terms of gold inventory, we've got 3.3 million ounces in the measured and indicated category. and a further plus or minus 700,000 ounces in the inferred. So in total mining inventory, there's over 4 million ounces. That's a substantial project. You don't get many of them worldwide. And hence the 200,000 ounces a year production, you can see he's got an easy 14 years life. So for us, that information was not quite all there, but a lot of it was there already, and we were able to move quite quickly as a consequence of that. We also had an agreement with the government of Liberia. It was called the Mineral Development Agreement, the MDA, where already in place is, by law, cast into statute, is a set of conditions that says no taxes, no increase in taxes for the first 10, 15 years of this life of mine. Import duty is fixed at a certain rate. And the most encouraging part of that MDA, two parts I guess are encouraging. One, the government has accepted that all expenditure from day one in this project can be offset against profit. So all the early work from establishing the camp, preliminary exploration, greenfield development through to where we are now, all that can be offset. So there's $100 million worth of work that can be offset, which enhances the project economics. But equally importantly, just to give you a sign of the intensity of the government wanting to be in country and to do something, they have said that in the event that the gold price was to drop below $1,500 an ounce, then they would remove the tariff, the import duties on fuel. And because we're an open pit opportunity, we've got a stripping ratio of 4:1, because that's a big part of the cost, AMD taking that kind of tax off your fuel bill makes you very competitive. So that government is willing to forgo that tax benefit that they get from fuel to encourage us to build a mine and get operating. So we're in a very, very positive environment, good relationship with the government, and ready to go.
Okay, you mentioned it being a coastal country, but there are a couple of other important components. Do you have the infrastructure you need to be able to get the resource out of the ground and to market? And do you have the human resources capability as well?
That's the right. I'm not complimenting you now, but that is the question. As you can see from the colour of my hair, I've been in this business a long while, of which about 14 years plus has been spent in West Africa. So I knew that part of the world, which also helped us move forward in the project. But there are two resources. There are resources in the ground, which we've developed, 4 million ounces, and there's resources in people. And so putting the right people together is essential to make sure that this project works. And that's what we did. We built a team of professional guys used to working in Africa, which is a starting point, knowledgeable of the country and capable of taking a project through to construction and then operation. And so that was very important for us to do that. And I'm glad to say we put that together.
What's your timeline now?
We will be looking to, well, we've done two things. I think it's an important question too. So we've done two things. We've approached a couple of investment banks and said to these banks, look guys, have a look at this. For us, 50 years in the mining industry is quite a long while. I'm not too sure I'm going to build 100% another project, but it's ready to build. Maybe there's a better way of creating value for our shareholders. So have a look at the strategic options. It's 200,000 ounces a year. It's got a 14-year mine life at least. It's got an exploration package of 2,500 square kilometres, of which we literally, and I know we all say it, have just scratched the surface. But there's more to come in that regard. So there's more than one Dugbe mine. Dugbe is the name of the project. There's more than one mine to come here. So we've said, take this out and just see what kind of interest is out there in the marketplace. This project, if we move forward with the pace we're going at, could be an operation, I believe, certainly comfortably by the end of 2024. So it's not far away.
Well, lightning speed, as I mentioned earlier.
You did, and the reason it's doable, because you did ask the question and I kind of evaded it, or at least forgot about it until just now, is the infrastructure. Let's not kid ourselves. Africa is Africa, and there is limited infrastructure in every country. No matter, we've all been, I'm sure, to some nice places, and they've got great hotels, but getting there can be challenging. The nice thing about Liberia, it's a coastal country, and this project is only 70 kilometres away from the port. So it takes decent-sized shipping into the port. We've got an agreement with the government. We'll help them develop, in terms of the infrastructure, a little bit more in the port. Some there already, but we'll build it up and give it to the government, which is a quid pro quo benefit for both of us. And then 70 kilometres, even in the worst of days, you can get up that road in 4 hours. And that's the worst of days. And a good day, you could be there in a couple of hours. That gives you a distinct advantage compared to your competitors in the marketplace.
How are you situated for money right now? Do you have what you need, or are you going to have to go back and raise more?
Mr. Cruz said, show me the money. Juniors are basically like that. But fortunately for me, we are in a position where just about 2 months ago, we did a raise. We brought $5 million in. Because of the status of the project, we're just moving it along slowly now because we've created the circumstances where wealth can be unlocked. We are okay for the next 12 to 15 months very comfortably.
So investors are looking at you right now going, okay, you're moving fast. Why should I look at investing in you now rather than waiting, let's say, 12 to 24 months?
We've been reasonably shy in telling our story, partly because it was an earn-in agreement, and until we achieved, first of all, the 49%, and now subsequently the 100% ownership, I was potentially marketing for 2 companies. Now it's very clear Pasofino is the 100% owner of this project, and it will be complete within the next 45 to 50 days. We are now saying we are 100% operators and corporate owners. Now's the time to recognise the value that's in there, because we've been overlooked. The market's been tough, but it's been tough for everyone. I'm not going to make an excuse out of that. It's been tough for everyone. But we haven't marketed. We haven't put the story on this type of investing news network, for example. It's time. So get in now. It is the season of giving, and we here in Pasofino are giving investors a great opportunity. This is the time to get in, invest, because it will grow in terms of value going forward. There is interest out there in this project. So
you're now starting to generate news on a regular basis. When can viewers and investors expect to hear more from you?
Look, it's Christmas. We're not far away, as we just mentioned there. I would think in the new year, you'll start to see information flow coming out again in the company, which will be positive and will catch your attention. For 4 million ounces, we're sitting with a market cap of, at the moment, approximately 40 million Canadian. It's, pardon my use of the horrible English grammar, it's as cheap as chips, as they say over in the UK. It really is. It's an investment opportunity. This is the time to get in and dabble with us.
Well, it sounds very promising, and I hope that you'll come back in the new year and give us the updates that continue to support the great project that you've got underway.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed being here.
Thank you.